Hello YouTube. It's been a couple of months, I think. Yeah, it has been a couple of months since the last sword review. Well, wait no more. I've got one here for you. Um, to my surprise, actually, my girlfriend bought this for me off of Amazon. Something that I actually had been wanting for a while, and some people, I had a couple of comments before, way back when I was doing my Hobbit Lord of the Rings videos, if someone could ask if I could do this sword. And I present to you today, it's only been, what, like 3 or 4 years? But finally, today, I present to you the sword of Godric Gryffindor from Harry Potter. To be more precise, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Only for the fact I say that because it really was only prominent in that movie. You get to see glimpses of it in the movies after that, but it was really only used in the Chamber of Secrets. And it was also used at the very, very end of the entire series. Deathly Hallows Part 2, I believe Neville Longbottom uses the sword to destroy Lord Voldemort's snake. So, also, just because, in fact, this was also used by Harry in Chamber of Secrets to destroy the basilisk. But let's go ahead and get on with the review. First off, I'm going to go ahead and say the sword itself is actually a lot bigger than it should be, I believe, because when Harry held it, you got to think Harry was only about, Daniel Radcliffe, the actor, was only about 12 years old when he held the sword, and in his hands it looked like maybe a good one-handed sword, maybe like a short sword. Even for a kid, it's probably still considered a short sword. Probably no more than 30 inches long. It couldn't have been more than 30 inches long. There's just no way. I even checked my sources. I watched the movie again, and I'm like, yeah, that sword's actually kind of small. This, on the other hand, is actually quite oversized, I've noticed. But I'm not going to complain about that, only for the fact that it is still a very pretty sword. I do love this is all cast steel, by the way. It does have all of these little engravings and motifs and whatnot carved into it. I see the Phoenix here, which is obviously Vaux the Phoenix from Harry Potter, was Dumbledore's Phoenix, brought the sword to Harry in the chamber so he could defeat the basilisk. It does feature a lot of gems, simulated gems. They obviously are not real. I do believe these are, yeah, they're plastic. Plastic insert gems. Would have been nice if they were at least made out of glass or a crystal of some kind, but again, I'm not going to complain too much. For the price she paid for this sword, which I'm actually not quite sure about. If I'm correct, I think the sword was under $50. Don't quote me on that. Again, it was purchased off of Amazon, and they had lots of different versions on there. However, I was only going to settle for a version of the sword that actually had the name Godric Gryffindor on the blade, which this does have. So, getting on with it, like I said, once again, all cast steel here. It's pretty solid, pretty well put together. Simulated plastic gems, they're not real. And as I was getting back to the size of the sword, the one in the movie should not have been more than 30 inches long. However, this has a 34-inch blade. Yeah, you heard that right. Which is pretty giant for considering a 12-year-old was supposed to be holding the sword, and it did not look like it was more than 30 inches in his hands. Now, the sword overall is actually 42.5 inches long. That's a big sword. So let's go ahead and get it unsheathed, which obviously in the movies it did not have a sheath. You never saw a sheath or anything. This is obviously just a cheap suede leather, really cheap constructed sheath that you can get with a lot of swords you purchase online. But again, they're like mass produced and stuff. So as you can see, it doesn't even fit all the way correctly in the sheath either. So let's go ahead and unsheath it. All right, now if you can see on the blade, it does say Godric Gryffindor on the blade, on both sides, going down the blade. I don't know if you can see it. This is as close as I can get to the camera. I don't want to knock nothing over. But the blade actually comes rather sharp. I wouldn't say overly sharp, but it's still sharp enough. This could cut through several things. This could probably cut through a melon quite nicely, I think. Not much of a spear point. It's actually kind of dull on the end. There is no fuller or blood groove on this sword. It's just a straight-edged a double-edged blade. Obviously, yes, it's a straight edge. But it's actually quite weighty. It's actually, the blade is actually quite hefty, considering, like I said, in the movies, this is supposed to be a one-handed sword with a size that shouldn't have exceeded 30 inches. Now this is, like I said, this is over 40 inches long, and the weight seems to be all in the blade here. Obviously because it was meant to be a one-handed sword, and there's only enough room on the handle for one-handed. This is not a two-handed sword. You might be able to try to wield it with two hands, but again, it was never meant to be wielded with two hands. Because of its size, it was meant to be a one-handed short sword. However, I'm not going to complain about the detail, other than the fact that it's a little oversized, which doesn't bother me because I'm a larger person myself, not overly large anyway, but I'm obviously no 12-year-old, so I would when wielding this, I would want it to feel like I actually have a sword in my hand. I will go ahead and give you a nice little close-up of that, as close as I can get. Like I said, the gems are fake. They are plastic, faux gems. Again, with the phoenix, it is prominent on both sides. You can see it, both the etchings, the motifs on this handle, they're present on both sides. So it's not like it's just patterned on one side and then just flat steel on the other. That would have been terrible. No, it's completely three-dimensional all the way around. I do believe the sword probably has a rat tail tang, like half tang. There is no way that you can make a sword like this full tang, especially with the construction of the hilt, crossguard, and pommel. It's very, very ornate, very decorative, basically. Would make a great wall hanger, makes even a better gift. But like I said, I've been wanting this sword for quite some time, just now getting around to it thanks to my love. So, all in all, really sturdy construction. I do like it. Like I said, sharp enough to cut some melons up with, but I wouldn't go swinging at anything more dense than that. I get a strong feeling that if you were to hit this against something strong with more density than, say, like a melon, like a watermelon or a cantaloupe of some kind, you probably would break this weapon. And I normally don't use that word lightly when it comes to, especially when it comes to swords. You never want to hear the word break. But it will not break in my possession. I can guarantee you that. I obviously take very good care of all of my blades, countless blades. My collection is ever growing, and I hope to keep it that way. I'll probably end up an old man with a garage or a basement full of swords, but I'd rather that than nothing. So let's go ahead and wrap this up basically by saying, once again, you can purchase this on Amazon. I'm sure other people sell it, but if you're looking for a 100% accurate replica from the movie, you're probably going to have to go straight to United Cutlery's website. Even maybe check out places like Bud K. They might have a more accurate replica, but in terms of aesthetic and functionality, this sword works just as well. And like I said, I wasn't going to settle for anything less than the name Godric Gryffindor on the blade, because that was the most important part. I saw lots of listings of these swords on Amazon and eBay. They did not have the name Godric Gryffindor engraved on the blade, which obviously you can't sell it as the sword of Godric Gryffindor unless it says Godric Gryffindor. So anyway, once again, blade 34 inches long. Overall, it's 42.5 inches long. Sturdy enough construction, meant for one hand, not two. This item is oversized, even though it shouldn't be, but I still really enjoy it. And it will look great with my collection on my wall where it belongs. So, until next time, YouTube, I am the Swordsman, and I am a very busy man. But there'll be more sword reviews soon, trust me. Later.